We're here at the 18th CROI. We're here with Andreas, who's from Copenhagen, and we're interviewing him today about the work that you're doing, as well as the fact that you're a young investigator. Mm-hmm. And we always do a number of young investigator interviews because we want to show the audience out there what's coming up in the field and the fields that they could get into, and your perspective on that. That's really important. So before we start into that, introduce yourself and tell us a little about your work.
Okay, yeah. As you said, I'm Andreas, and I'm from Copenhagen, where I work at Rigshospitalet. It's my primary institution, and I work with cardiovascular disease in persons living with HIV in Copenhagen. And my main focus is this cohort I'm co-managing, called COCOMO. It's the Copenhagen Comorbidity in HIV infection, and I look into their vascular and cardiac comorbidity, non-AIDS comorbidity. Mm-hmm. So.
This is really important because this is one of the, we always are looking for a way to die, and this is probably the best one. I think the one they found the most attractive route, apparently, but it's important for us to understand why. And so you're doing that with a cohort. You're following people and so forth. So, mm-hmm. So this is retrospectively, prospectively,
well,
or both?
It's both.
Okay.
We established the cohort back in 2015, actually exactly 3 years ago in this month, and we're just looking at the baseline data. It took 1.5 years to collect a lot of data on our cohort, and to get all we did a lot of CT scans on more than 900, mm-hmm. A cardiac CT scan that allows us to look at the all sorts of variables related to cardiac function and to the atherosclerotic process that we think is going on in persons living with HIV. And we have a control population, which is what makes this cohort unique in my view, because most persons living with HIV in Copenhagen, or at least in our cohort, are very well treated and have a very high proportion with viral suppression. So they are indeed very much like the everyday guy from Copenhagen, and we have this wonderful opportunity to compare a person living with HIV to 14 completely similar persons in Copenhagen. Mm-hmm. So the only factor actually differing between the two should be HIV status, and
so HIV and not, and then on cardiovascular disease, and the status of cardiovascular disease.
Exactly. Yeah.
So it's important for us to learn this, and I really appreciate your work in this. Now, how did you get into the field? To talk more about your status as a young investigator, what spark led you to the field that you're in?
Well, it was I guess it was a chance opportunity. I was working in the department of cardiology as a pre-grad. Mm-hmm. And after I finished medical school, my original plan was to go into cardiology, working with with the cardiologist there, and we had a joint venture with the Department of Infectious Diseases, where I am now, mm-hmm. Studying this COCOMO cohort, and I got to talk with my professor, Susanne Bam-Nielsen.
And this is your mentor?
This is my mentor, yes. Mm-hmm. And she offered me this, or really ignited the spark, as you perhaps phrased it, to go into investigating persons living with HIV, mm-hmm. and it was such a fascinating area of research that I haven't finished yet. So I decided to go on and work and complete, I hope, a PhD in this field.
So you really feel this is the direction you want to go? You're happy with it, and you're moving, continuing to move in this direction?
At the moment, yes.
Yeah, okay.
I'm.
I mean, you're perfectly able to make all kinds of changes. I'm just trying to feel how you are.
Yeah, I am. I started out as a cardiologist doing infectious diseases, but or researching into HIV. But I think I'm more becoming or perhaps I already am a HIV researcher, doing an HIV researcher, doing research with a cardiology perspective.
Exactly. Well, it's important to have all those disciplines, and when you come here, is this your first conference?
This is my first conference, yes.
So did it impact you in any way? Did you talk with people that changed any of your thinking on anything? Did it improve your thinking about the field, or how did that fit?
I think that just I like the poster walk or the posters have been extremely fascinating. It's excellent work from. I'm really humble that they chose my work to be presented as an oral, because I really think that many of the other and also of course the oral presentations are indeed it's excellent work, and you can't help but become inspired by their works and ideas. So I think we already have along with my mentor and my colleagues some ideas we're going to explore in.
As a result of some of the conversations, or
yeah, and we of course look into comorbidity. So there was a very nice session yesterday afternoon, and I think we all got to thinking and got some good ideas. And of course we've been meeting other groups and looking, and we're going to look into partnerships already to at least firm partnerships established during this CROI. So it's nice.
I think all the grants want you to work with somebody else, and the collaborations are always really important in getting funded, I think. So it's you're going down the right road. So how was your mentorship experience? Was it good?
Yeah, mostly. Of course, I realize Susanne she's my mentor. She's a busy person, but I think what's unique about her is that she's, compared to others I've spoken to, she's almost always happy to help, and I think that spare half an hour with ping-ponging an idea. Or looking over some of my work, it's excellent. So I'm not complaining at all.
Right. Did you have any disappointments so far, or let's go both ways? Did you have any disappointments or feelings of hey, this is a win, type of thing, in your experience so far as a young investigator?
As a young investigator, yeah, there's always when you submit a work for publication, there's always a I should frame this politically. I think it's of course always it hurts to be have your work rejected, but it's also, after the initial blow, a good thing to get to improve your own work. Yeah. So both
I always say that the important thing as far as a young investigator is to know your stuff. Especially when you're presenting and you're at a poster session, where you're going to get hit with all kinds of questions. You have to know all those answers.
It's intimidating.
You have to stand up for your work. Yeah.
Exactly. But
so I don't know if there's anything else down the line, but it's always good to meet the young investigators who have a sense of direction, and there's nothing wrong with changing the direction. But it seems like you're heading the right way, because this is a really important piece of HIV. HIV with a cardiovascular background is really important, I think, today. The most important area of work that I'm certainly myself living with that same challenge.
Yeah.
Been infected for way over 35 years.
Yeah. So.
And I'm still here. But I've had cardiovascular issues. So there is that issue. So.
Yeah. Well, most people HIV or not will end up with
Yeah.
some sort of cardiovascular.
Right.
So
Either die of a cardiovascular disease or cancer or one
exactly,
of
yeah.
those. You have to find something to die of. Awful as that sounds. Some people just, I guess, fall apart and disintegrate. My uncle lasted to 101, but he didn't have cardiovascular disease either. He ate very well. But I appreciate very much that you took the time to visit with us, and we look forward to visiting with you again. It's always good to revisit people that you know, we had the conversation, see where you are in a few years and what you maybe have accomplished. And I certainly wish you good luck.
Thank you so much, and you too.
Yeah.